At 5:30 local time in the Sea of Azov, a Russian Buyan-M class corvette armed with 8 Kalibr cruise missiles prepared to unleash its payload on Ukrainian cities. The ship's crew believed they were moments away from striking deep inside Ukraine. What they didn't know was that a swarm of Ukrainian drones was already closing in. 7 UAVs, a mix of fast Rebakas and heavy Bobers, hunted silently across the dawn sky. Their operators, hundreds of kilometers away, guided them with precision. The Russians had no idea that their mission would soon collapse in fire, smoke, and chaos. The lead, Rebaka, accelerated to over 400 kilometers per hour as it approached a Russian checkpoint. Suddenly, tracers lit up the morning sky. The checkpoint gunners, unable to see the drones clearly, fired blindly at the sound of their buzzing motors. Shells ripped through the air, each capable of tearing the UAV apart. The drone juked hard left, weaving through the barrage. The gunfire, however, triggered alarms across Russian positions within a 10-kilometer radius. Telegram channels buzzed with urgent warnings, faster than military radios could transmit. The surprise was slipping away. Then as the Rebaka skimmed low, its instruments went haywire. Power lines loomed ahead, invisible until the last second. Static filled the feed. Compasses spun. For 3 agonizing seconds, the drone flew blind. By sheer skill, the operator pulled it clear, dodging a radio tower's guy wires by meters. Behind it, more drones slipped through the chaos, pressing on toward the primary target, breaking the shield. 4 heavy Bobers took a slower northern route, carrying larger warheads. They were the hammer that would finish the job once the Rebakas cleared defenses. But Russian forces were already adapting. A repellent 1 jammer powered up, flooding the airwaves with 400 watts of electromagnetic noise. The lead drone's screen went black, signal lost. But Ukraine had anticipated this. The UAV switched to autonomous navigation, relying on pre-programmed waypoints and optical tracking. It flew blind through the electromagnetic storm and emerged right on course. Ahead, a BTR-82 armored vehicle opened fire, spraying the sky in controlled bursts. The operator dove into an industrial zone, using buildings as cover. Russian soldiers poured into the streets, firing wildly at the sound of motors. Yet physics worked in Ukraine's favor. At low altitudes, radar coverage shrank dramatically. The drones threaded invisible corridors, slipping past detection zones. Still, not all would survive. Concentrated fire finally connected, and 1 Rebaka spiraled down in flames, detonating in a parking lot. Only 2 Rebakas and 2 Bobers remained, the Counterstrike. As the drones pressed forward, a Russian Panzer system came online. In seconds, it launched 6 missiles. But these weren't ordinary SAMs. They were specialized anti-drone interceptors, each designed to shred UAVs with tungsten fragmentation spheres. The sky became a 3-dimensional kill box. But the Ukrainian operator knew Panzer's weakness, a 1.2-second arming delay. At 432 kilometers per hour, the Rebaka covered 144 meters in that time. The operator dove the UAV straight toward the launcher, slipping beneath the still disarmed missiles. By the time the warheads were armed, the drone was already past them, using the system's own safety protocols as a shield. Seconds later, the Rebaka leveled out at treetop height and lined up on the Podlet K1 radar, the system feeding targeting data to every Russian launcher in the sector. The Panzer's twin 30mm cannons roared, but their targeting algorithms lagged behind the drone's unpredictable maneuvers. The Rebaka slammed into the radar, detonating its shaped charge. The Monroe effect turned copper into a hypersonic jet, punching through steel, electronics, and operator cabins in a single devastating strike. Russia's primary radar node was gone. The collapse of the network. A second Rebaka dove on the P-18 early warning radar. The Panzer switched to thermal imaging backup, but morning conditions caused inversion layers and heat shimmer. The small electric drone blended into the background. The gunner fired wildly, expending thousands of rounds without a hit. The Rebaka struck home, obliterating the array. In an instant, Russia's layered air defense collapsed. The corvette offshore was blind. Its own radar could only see out to 40 kilometers, leaving less than 2 minutes warning against fast-moving threats. The ship's crew scrambled. The AK-630 Duet CIWS spun up, spitting 30mm shells at 10,000 rounds per minute. But these cannons were designed to track cruise missiles, not nimble drones constantly shifting direction. The math never aligned. Desperate, the captain ordered decoys and jamming systems deployed. Chaff clouds filled the sky. Electronic warfare suites blasted interference across the spectrum. But Ukraine's drones were built for resilience. Using frequency-hopping links, they cut through the noise. Video feeds degraded, but control held. Final strike. The corvette began evasive maneuvers, banking into sharp turns. But a 949-ton warship cannot outmaneuver drones weighing under 200 kilograms. The UAVs timed their approaches during the ship's steady periods between turns. One Bober lined up on the radar mast. The CIWS could not depress low enough to target it. Deck gunners fired, but human reaction times were too slow. The drone slammed into the mast, wiping out the ship's communications and targeting systems. The second Bober dove toward the ship's port side, aiming for the missile magazine. Its shaped charge had to strike at the perfect angle. The operator, hands trembling, corrected for drift and sea spray. The warhead punched through 15 millimeters of steel plating, igniting hydraulic fluid and electrical systems inside. Fires erupted, coolant lines burst, missile safety interlocks failed. The Kalibr missiles, once destined for Ukrainian cities, were now disabled, their launchers crippled. Aftermath. The Russian corvette may have survived the attack, but it was far from combat ready. 12 hours after the strike, the vessel crawled back into port, its hull torn and its superstructure blackened by fire. Critical systems were disabled, from radar arrays to missile launchers, leaving the ship a floating shell of its former strength. Even optimistic estimates suggested repairs could stretch beyond a year, assuming Russia could find the parts and expertise under tightening international sanctions. For Ukraine, the outcome carried enormous symbolic and strategic weight. A warship worth nearly $500 million had been sidelined by drones assembled with inexpensive, widely available components. This wasn't just a tactical win on the battlefield. It was a demonstration that technology, creativity, and bold planning could offset the imbalance of conventional power. It showed that modern warfare no longer belongs only to the side with the biggest fleet or the most expensive arsenal. The strike also sent a message far beyond the Black Sea. To Russia, it was a reminder that no ship, no matter how well defended, was beyond reach. To Ukraine and its allies, it was proof that persistence and ingenuity can turn the tide in even the most unequal fight. The crippled corvette became more than just a damaged vessel. It stood as evidence that precision, adaptability, and courage could rewrite the rules of naval warfare in the 21st century. The strike in the Sea of Azov was not just a tactical victory, but a strategic message. A single drone-led operation managed to neutralize a warship worth hundreds of millions, proving that naval power is no longer defined solely by steel and size. It signaled to Moscow that its dominance at sea is vulnerable, to Kiev that innovation can level the playing field, and to the world that the balance of naval warfare is shifting in real time. But the larger question remains, are drones truly rewriting the rules of modern conflict? Their impact is undeniable, and battles like this show how technology and precision can outmatch traditional firepower. What's your take? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of the battles shaping our world today.